origin of black people according to the Bible. Bible mysteries explained in the vast tapestry of history, where the stories of rising and falling societies intertwine like threads in an ancient wave. There exists a record that whispers the tale of the powerful and regal people. Have you ever paused to wonder why the echo of Africa's mighty king and queens with their dark, rich skin glowing under the sun seem to resonate so deeply in our collective memory as the sun sets over Africa's expansive savannas, casting golden hues across endless horizon? Stories emerge depicting this legacy figure, rulers who command empire, warriors who shape destinies, and visionaries whose legacies endure. The Bible, a long-standing book revered across millennia, holds within its pages the secret of these ancient narratives, revealing connections that bridge the divine and the human. What if the origin of people, of black and African people, weren't just sacred fragments of folklore, but a deliberate thread woven into the very fabric of sacred scripture? Join us on an immersive cinematic journey through times as we unearth the story that may have been forgotten by the rest of the world but will forever be etched in the sands of Africa. Before we dive into the heart of the exploration, imagine standing on the banks of the Nile or gazing across the Ethiopian highlands, place where history and faith coverage. If you are as captivated by these mysteries as we are, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. We have a lot of exciting content coming your way, from deep dives into biblical prophecies to untold tales of ancient civilization. Now let's set sails on this incredible journey and unlock the history of our black and African ancestors according to the Bible. According to the Bible, all present days, people are descendants of Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These foundational narratives in Genesis provides a genealogical map that has intrigued scholars, theologians, and historians for centuries. Have you ever considered how a single family story could explain the diversity of human skin tones, cultures, and migrations? These include black individuals and those with dark skin, whose lineage can be traced back to Ham, one of Noah's sons. Shem and Japheth are Ham's brothers, representing the Semitic people such as Arabs, Jews, Syrians, and others, and the Japhethites, who are often linked to Europeans and Asians, respectively. The Bible identifies Ham, Noah's son, as the progenitor of Africans and black people. His name is consistently associated with Africa, and the book of Psalms links him to the ancient Egyptians, portraying a vivid picture of a lineage that flourished in the cradle of civilization. In the noteworthy that ancient Jewish and other traditions also attribute African ancestry to Ham. The concept of Ham's children consistently points to Africa's regions, areas, and peoples. Additionally, that call Ham's holds a meaning of burned or dark in Hebrew, Aramaic, and the other Asian language, alluding to the color of his hair and skin. This etymological insight isn't just a linguistic curiosity. It offers a window into how ancient people perceive and describe its physical traits to geography and environment. What if the simple name carries the weight of an entire continent's identity? Within chapter 10 of the book of Genesis, especially between verses 6 to 14, one can explore Ham's family tree, also known as the Hamitic people. This table of nations, as it's often called, serves as a biblical blueprint for understanding early human dispersal after the Great Flood. The book mentions Ham's children, Kush, who become father of many African people, and Mizraim, who became the father of the ancient Egyptians. It is important to note that Arabs, Jews, Syrians, and others refer to Egypt as Mizraim because it was named as such by its founder. Put, also known as Phut, the Canaan, the father of the Canaanites, are also sons of Shem. Canaan refers to both place and a group of people encompassing the land that would later become central to biblical events. Further, Kush, Ham's first son, gave rise to various countries and people, including the Ethiopians. Ethiopians and the people of Nubia, previously known as the kingdoms of Kush, share the same origin. These are significant countries and a group of people, and their ancestry can be traced back to Kush. It is worth mentioning that people of Samaria, who are believed to have descended from Nimrod, Kush's disobedient son, are thought to have originated from Old Babylon. Additionally, individuals from South India, as well as populations from various parts of Africa, such as Malians, Eritreans, Kenyans, Congolese, and Vendas from Cambon, are considered to have Cushite heritage. In the biblical context, the term Kush is often associated with Ethiopia, Sudan, and East Africa, signifying Ethiopia's or black in its original language. Have you ever marveled at how a single biblical name like Kush could encompass such a vast area of modern nations? From the pyramids of Sudan to the highlands of Ethiopia? This connection isn't merely symbolic. Archaeological evidence such as the ancient kingdoms of Kush rule along the Nile supports the ideas of a powerful dark-skinned civilization that traded with Egypt and influenced regional politics. Canaan and Mizraim are also Ham's children. Mizraim is believed to be an ancestor of the ancient Egyptians and many people in North Africa, including the dark-skinned Turanians and Berber. Semitic people such as Arameans, Arabs, and Israelites refer to Egypt as Mizraim. Psalm 78:51. It also mentions that God struck the firstborn in Egypt, the first fruits of manhood in the tent of Ham. This verse poignantly ties the plague of Egypt to Ham's lineage, illustrating how Bible events intertwine with African history. Ham also had a son named Put or Phut, born after Mizraim. Put derived from the word's meaning landmark that pertains to clean hunters in Africa. Put is considered the father of Black Libyan and several other African people. Regarding to the famous curse of Ham or curse of Canaan, many people have misconstrued the narrative in Genesis chapter 9. The Bible recounts that when Noah became intoxicated, his son Ham did not assist him, but instead walked his naked and drunk state to his other brothers. However, this text can be interpreted in multiple ways, and it is not the focal point of this narrative. Noah placed a curse on one of Ham's sons, Canaan. While Noah's action may seem exaggerated, it was a grave matter to disrespect one's father during that time period, almost akin to a religious duty. Although Noah's drunkenness appears to be accidental, resulting from his discovery of wines made from grape, he unknowingly became intoxicated. As a consequence, God did not punish him. It is essential to recognize that Ham and his three other sons, Kush, Mizraim, and Put, are all believed to be the progenitor of various African and Black populations. The Bible, through its genealogical accounts, connects these individuals to the ancient people of Africa, including the Egyptians, Ethiopians, and other African nations. However, it is important to approach this narrative with an understanding of their historical and cultural context, as they represent Asian perspective and belief. Did you know that modern genetic study, like those from the Human Genome Project, have traced mitochondrial DNA back to African origin, aligning intriguingly with these biblical genealogies? This scientific corroboration adds layers to the story, suggesting that the Bible's accounts might reflect real migratory patterns post-flood. The Bible is not the sole historical and anthropological source for understanding the origins and history of Black and African people. Scholars and researchers draw from a wide range of disciplines including archaeology, linguistics, genetics, and oral traditions that piece together the complex tapestry of human history. As our knowledge of the past countries to evolve, it is crucial to engage in ongoing research and dialogue to gain a more nuanced understanding of the origin, migration, and cultural developments of Black and African people. What if the oral historical passed down through generations in West Africa, griot traditions were a missing link that connects biblical hymns to the empire of Mali and Songhai? These stories of ancient kings like Sandia Takeda echo the grandeur attributes to Ham's descendants. It is crucial to emphasize that interpreting the Bible in a way that suggests African people were cursed is a grave mistake and a misinterpretation. The individual who is cursed in the Bible is Canaan, the grandson of Ham, and not all African people. This curse was specifically directed at Canaan's line, which settled in Lebanon, not the broader African's diaspora. Ham, who is believed to be the ancestor of people in Africa and South India, was born before the flood and lived a remarkably long life compared to most people. He had the opportunity to witness the 5th and 6th generations of his family and ancestors. Interestingly, similar to his brother Shem, Ham also lived to be around 600 years old or possibly even older, while the exact age of Ham is not specified in the Bible. It is likely that he lived at least 600 years. A lifespan that in ancient texts symbolized divine favor and longevity. The location of Ham's burial sites remains uncertain, with various theories and studies suggesting different possibilities. Some propose that his tomb could be in Ethiopia or even Nubia, which others suggest Mesopotamia, where the Sumerians lived. However, the prevailing belief that the Ham's tomb is in Africa, specifically in Sudan or Ethiopia. Some even speculate that he might be buried in Egypt, a land known for its ancient secrets and the ongoing discoveries of millennial burials. Have you ever imagined uncovering the pharaoh's tombs only to find true link to the Noah's family? Recent excavations in Sudan, like those at the Pyramid of Moro, reveal Black African rulers who might trace their lineage to Kush, Ham's son, blending archaeology with scripture in fascinating ways. The Book of Jubilees provides additional details about Ham's later years and the events involving Noah's family and the lineage of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. This ancient Jewish manuscript, which was considered authoritative before and during the time of Christ, described Ham's displeasure when his youngest son, Canaan, chose to settle in the land of Shem, which is now known of Israel. Ham's other sons disagreed with Canaan's desire to claim those lands for himself. According to the Bible of Jubilees, Ham, Kush, Mizraim, and others did not support Canaan's decision to reside in Shem's territories, as they believed that the land in Africa were meant for Ham's descendants. Despite their objective, Canaan chose to remain in the land against their father and brother's wishes. In the Bible of Jubilees, it is mentioned that Ham was the first person to establish a city in the region after the flood. He named the place Male-Tilak in honoring of his beloved wife. This act of founding a settlement post-flood highlights Ham's role as a pioneer. Much like how African civilization later built great cities like Thebes or Great Zimbabwe, it is important to approach those ancient texts with carefully consideration for their culture and historical context. The Bible provides a complex and multifaceted narrative, and it is crucial to avoid misinterpretation that perpetuates erroneous belief or unjust associate curses with an entire group of people. Expanding of this, let's dive deeper into the descendants of Ham and their impact on world's history. Kush, as mentioned, fathers Nimrod, described in Genesis 10:8-12, as a mighty hunter before the land and the founder of cities like Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Canaan in the land of Shinar. Nimrod's king extended to Syria, where he built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Cairo, and Resen. What is Nimrod's legendary status as a mighty hunter was not just about game, but symbolized his conquest over vast territories, influencing early Mesopotamian and African cultures. Historical records from Assyrian tablets echoes tales of powerful kings who could be linked to this biblical figure, suggesting a blend of myth and realities. Mizraim's lines leading to Egypt is perhaps the most well documented. The ancient Egyptians with their monumental pyramids, sphinxes, and hieroglyphs were dark-skinned people whose art depicts them with features akin to sub-Saharan Africans. Pharaohs like Ramses II or Tutankhamun ruled over the civilization that invented papyrus, advanced medicines, and astronomy. Achievements that resonate with the biblical portrayal of Mizraim as a founder of great nation. Have you ever stood in awe of the Great Pyramid and Giza and wondered if its builders were direct descendants of Ham, carrying forward a legacy of ingenuity? Past descendants, often associated with Libya and North African nomads, contributed to the Berber and the Tuareg people. Known as their resilient in desert environment, those groups maintains trade routes across the Sahara, linking sub-Saharan Africa with the Mediterranean world. Canaan's lines, through Cursed, populated the Levant, interacting with the Israelites in stories like the conquest of Jericho. This interplay highlights the interconnectedness of biblical people. Beyond genealogy, the Bible weaves Black and African figures into core narratives. Moses marries a Cushian woman, and the Queen of Sheba, often identified as Ethiopians, visited Solomon. Elimelech, an Ethiopian eunuch, rescued Jeremiah, and the Ethiopian officials baptized by Philip represented early Christianity spread to Africa. Did you know that Ethiopia's claim to house the Ark of the Covenant in Action, typing biblical artifacts to Ham's descendants? Misconceptions about the curse of Ham have been weaponized historically, justifying slavery and colonialism. Yet scholars like David M. Goldenberg in The Curse of Ham argue it's a post-biblical invention, not scriptural intent. The curse targets Canaanites, not Africa, and Ham's other lines thrives without it. What if this narrative empowered modern Africans to see their heritage as blessed, not burden? In linguistic Hamitic language, including ancient Egyptian and Berber, supporting biblical tide, genetics shows African origin for humanity, with migration aligning with post-flood dispersal. Oral traditions in Yoruba or Dogon cultures echo flood myth, paralleling Noah's story. The Book of Jubilees elaborates of land divisions. Ham received Africa, South Nile, Shem, the Middle East, Japheth, Europe and Asia. Canaan's encroachment led conflicts, foreshadowing biblical wars. Ham's city founding post-flood symbolizing renewal, much like African resilience after calamities. In conclusion, Ham's story is one of resilience, innovation, and legacy. From Kush kingdoms to Mizraim's pyramids, Africa's biblical roots are deep. In this end time, receive Jesus' salvation and let Him show your awesome purpose in life today. Type purpose in the comments, subscribe and watch my miracle story and link below to reconnect with your destiny from God right now.